Hey stamping friends, it's Sherry Parker coming to you live on Wednesday, February 12th. Valentine's Day is just 2 days away. Hope you're having a great week. And thank you for joining me tonight. If you wouldn't mind commenting on or sharing this video so others can create with us, I would really appreciate it. And if you do, your name will automatically be drawn to win one of the projects we make tonight. And we're making 4 cards, so great chances to win. And I really think you'll like tonight's projects. We're not really focusing on Valentine's Day per se, but we're gonna show simple versus stepped up cards using only really 2 different supplies. So I think you'll really like it. Real quick, wanted to mention that I have a couple spots left for my February Mystery Hostess. It's on Monday, which is President's Day coming up. Let me know if you could by tomorrow. I've got like 2 more spots left and would love to have you. It's $10. If you do place a $30 order or more, you get your $10 applied towards your order, so no cost to you at all. And that just covers my supply costs, but some really fun projects in store. So glad that if you can join me. Hey Michelle, thanks for joining. Would love to have you. So I'm gonna turn my camera around and I'll show you the projects for tonight. All right, as I mentioned, we are using primarily 2 different supplies and they're both from the Celebration catalog. This is the catalog that premiered in January, so with every $60 of merchandise that you spend, you qualify for a Celebration item. And there's some really great ones in here. Tonight we're gonna use the Pick a Season stamp set, as well as the Toadstool Gardens Designer Series paper. And I've used this before, but we're gonna use the other side, so it'll be real interesting to see the different kinds of cards that you can make with that Designer Series paper. Hey, Donna. So, and then as I mentioned, this was started in January, but then last week, Stampin' Up! Even added some more things to the Celebration freebies, and so there's some really good things here as well. This lasts until the end of February, so it's a great time if you have supplies you need to stock up because you can get freebies. Tonight we'll be using the Toadstool Gardens Designer Series paper and the Pick a Season stamp set. Both are Celebration items. This paper might look familiar if you've tuned in before because we've used some of the other patterns. I've never used this. This is a little psychedelic for me, but on the reverse side is like a wood grain pattern. So that one I think is pretty cool, and we're going to use that tonight. So the really nice thing about this stamp set is that it's really an all-season stamp set. You've got shamrocks, hearts, Easter eggs, flowers, leaves. So really, you could make a card for any occasion. I even think that trees are really lovely to send for sympathy. You could also make it a masculine card by not having flowers and things. So really some great options with this stamp set, and it's free with a $60 order. Hey, Joyce. So we'll set this aside and get started. And while I'm getting ready, my February host code is right here. It's NT67NY9D. So if you go to my website at sherrythomas.stampinup.net and place an order, if you use the February host code, I'd appreciate it. So tonight we're going to be focusing on simple versus stepped up. I had a post the other day and I had similar cards, but very different looking, outcomes. So there's a stepped up version and then a simple version. Stepped up means you're adding some embellishments, maybe die cutting, more stamping, 3D, that kind of thing. And a simple card is more or less just paper and ink. So I'm going to show you both, same basic layout, but one stepped up and one simple. And the cool thing about the simple cards is I'm using our basic white note cards and envelopes. So these come pre-packaged. There's 20 in a pack. So if you made a set of note cards, say you made 4, you could get 5 sets out of 1 pack. And the envelopes come with it. So it's really a nice thing to have on hand, and that's what I'm going to be using tonight. So we'll get started, and the first card I'm going to make these in parallel so that you can kind of see the differences and how similar they are, but yet some minor nuances that will differentiate them a little bit. So I've got my stepped up card and my simple card. they'll both feature the tree. And so I'll start by stamping my tree first. And on the Stepped Up card, I'm using the wonderful Countryside Corners dies. These are not new. You might recognize them, but they're basically nested. I think this looks like the Ohio State O. You can make a really nice O if you're an Ohio State fan. So all of those come together, they nest, and then also you get this cute little banner die there. So to start, I'm gonna use my tree trunk here with Pecan Pie ink, and I'll stamp it right there at the base of the paper. I'm gonna do this on both of these. So there's the beginning of our tree. And with Granny Apple Green ink, I will stamp the tree, the leaves. And you can see how easily it sits on top. Real easy to line up. OHIO, right, Michelle? So we've got one tree on our Stepped Up, and we'll do our other tree here. Because this is a smaller piece, it's in fact like 2.5 by 4, it pretty much goes edge to edge. This has a little bit more give around the tree. And then the grass, there's a little piece of blades of grass that comes with this set too. I'm just gonna stamp a few little blades of grass on either side of our tree, like that. And then this particular card, I'm using hearts. Now, I know Valentine's Day is Friday, so if you didn't have this set, you may not have it in time for Valentine's Day, but it could also be just I love you or happy anniversary or really anything. The hearts are really cute in that the tree. So I'm going to start with Pretty in Pink, and I'm going to stamp the hearts a few times, and you can see how they just kind of tuck away in the leaves. And I'll do the same thing on this one here. And you can turn them a little bit, reposition them, really however you want. They fit in that gap, so it doesn't really matter. Clean that one off, and then with the Melon Mambo ink, I will stamp some more hearts. And you could do them all one color. I like the two-tone with the pink. And there you go. You've got your two trees ready to go. And the last thing, if you wanted, you could stamp some clouds. You can see that I stamped some clouds here. My Balmy Blue ink is a new ink pad, so I'm gonna stamp it off. What I mean is I'll just stamp it off on this scratch paper and then stamp it on my card because it'll look a little bit lighter. You could stamp a couple of them, maybe on the big card, and on the smaller card, you could stamp one or two, whatever you really wanted. Maybe we'll do a second one, kind of going off the edge. So we've got our clouds, our tree, everything's ready to go. And now we'll put these together and you can see the differences. So for the Stepped Up card, I've got a quarter sheet here of that Designer Series paper, and I'm gonna use the pink side this time and adhere it to a card base that is Pretty in Pink. That's one of our in colors. That's our card base. And it's a pretty light pink. So on the inside, I'm gonna just leave it pink. You could add a white sheet if you wanted, but I don't really think it's necessary here. And then, because I wanna give this some dimension, it's our Stepped Up card, I will add some Stampin' Dimensionals so that I'm essentially popping this up. So I'll put 4 on. That's a pretty big piece here. And then center it on the front of the card like that. And then to further step it up, I tied a bow. This is our in color ribbon. This ribbon is wonderful. It lays real flat and it's very, very nice and easy to tie. So I did tie a bow, and I'm gonna put this at the top here, like that. And then I'm also gonna stamp a greeting, and I have a real tiny piece of scrap paper here. It's about a 1/2 inch by a couple inches. So that's why it is great if you save your scraps, because you never know. And the greeting that I have here is from the Boundless Love. It's "You Are Loved," and I'm going to stamp this in Melon Mambo like that. And you could put this to the front of your card like that. I'm actually going to create a banner. I'm going to use my paper snips here. And I know, Joyce, I am with you. I didn't get this one originally, but then I saw some cards made with it, and I just fell in love with it. And the more I've played with it, I really, really like it. So these are not precise. These are just little notches that I cut on either side to create a banner. And I'll adhere this to the front of my card using, I'm going to use some of the mini dimensionals. I do like that our dimensionals come in 2 sizes. Even if if you don't want to get 2 different sizes, you could get the bigger ones and cut them down. I do that too sometimes. So there is our stepped up card. So easy and cute. Now, when I say stepped up, you could even take it further. You could die cut more. You could add, all kinds of different things to make it even more stepped up. But I think this is stepped up enough to show you what my point. So with this, the note card, I've got my focal point piece here, and then really all I have is the pre-scored and cut note card. And then I have a piece of designer series paper, and I'm just going to cut this down. This is actually 3 by 4.5. So you can actually get 2 per 6 by 6 sheet of designer series paper. And then I will adhere this to the front of my note card like this. Got a good border around there. And then last, I will tape this. I'm not even going to use dimensionals. I'm just going to tape it to the front to show you how cute that can be. So there are the 2 cards, one stepped up, one very simple. And it just so happens that on Monday at my Mystery Hostess class, we're going to make a set of these note cards. You'll make 4 note cards, and it's a great gift idea. I like to give sets of note cards just as, hey, thanks for helping me out, or whatever the case might be. Really nice handmade gift, and it doesn't take a lot of supplies or time. So there's our first card. And now we'll go ahead and do our second. And this will be, I think this could actually be a masculine card. I do have a bow or a ribbon here that you wouldn't necessarily have to use. So if you took that out, you could make this a masculine card, thinking of you or birthday. Again, I'm using the same designer series paper. So for this one, this is from the Toadstool Gardens. If you look at the other side, it's the psychedelic mushrooms. Still haven't used these, but I need to make a card. I need to challenge myself to make a card with those. But I'm gonna use the reverse side here, which looks to me like wood grain. So it'd be a nice neutral background. And for this card, I have a Knight of Navy card base. And since it is a dark color, I will put a white quarter sheet of cardstock on the inside. That way you can write something without having to use a gel pen. It's a very simple thing to do. And for this one too, I decided to add even an extra layer. And I've got Pebble Path, and then I'm gonna layer that onto the Knight of Navy. And these colors, I think, are very nice, neutral colors. And I've got a very thin border, 1/8 of an inch around onto the Pebbled Path, and then again we'll layer onto the Knight of Navy. And we'll get our card base together. So just like we did on the last card, I'm going to use one of these shapes from the Countryside Corners dies. And then for the note card, I've got just a rectangle 2.5 by 4. And we'll stamp our trees. So again, same thought process here. And if I was making a set of note cards, I would do all of the trunks all at one time. Then I would do all of the leaves, the foliage, and then the inside. That way you are maximizing your time. So we've got our tree trunks there. Next, we will put our leaf topper using Granny Apple Green. Like we did last time, we'll stamp some grass. I mean, you can see how easy this set is to use. It's so cute. And think how much fun it would be for kids too. They could make little landscapes and decorate however they wanted. So now for the inside of this tree, I thought to make it a little more subtle and perhaps masculine, I'm using the leaf that comes in that stamp set, a slightly darker green, old olive, and we'll just kind of plop that in there. It's very subtle. And again, you can kind of rotate the position of whatever you stamp in there. Looks like I might need to re-ink this pad. It doesn't look too dark, does it? All right, so I've got all my leaves stamped in there. And now I'm ready to finalize this card. Again, if you want to add a cloud, you can do that. I'll stamp it off like I did on the last card, just so it's not quite so bold. It's a little trick you can try. And the nice thing about stamping off is if you want it to look like you have multiple ink colors, you can do that. So if you stamp it the first time, it's dark, and then you stamp it again and it's light, and it almost looks like two different ink colors. So that's just something to kind of keep in your back pocket. Okay, we'll just do one cloud with that one. All right, so now we're ready to put our card together. We will adhere this to the front with some Stampin' Dimensionals. This is our stepped up card. I try to conserve Stampin' Dimensionals, but this is a pretty large piece, so 4 is a good number. That one's good to go. And then I've decided, and again, if you wanted to make this masculine card, you may not want the ribbon. Same ribbon that we used for the last card. This is the basic beige color, and it's very neutral and looks real nice with these tones. And I'll adhere this with a glue dot right here. And if you want to trim this down, certainly. You don't want the tail hanging off, do that. And then the last touch for this card is, I showed you in that the dies, in addition to the O's, there is this banner. So it's very tiny, and I did find a word tiny enough to fit in there. The heart-shaped is another celebration item, and it has this little teeny hello and also some other greetings, and it's a really nice one. So I'll stamp the word hello using the Night of Navy ink right there. I don't know if you can see that in my banner, and then I'll just offset it like that. This is a very small banner, so we definitely want to use the mini dimensionals for this one. Or you want to cut your other dimensionals pretty small. Okay. And then we'll adhere it, not to the table. Offset it a little bit like that. And there it is, very simple. For the simple card, we've got our note card, and we've got our piece of Designer Series paper. It's 3 by 4.5. We will adhere that to the front, like we did on the last card, and then we'll adhere the stamp piece as well. So there you are, stepped up and simple. And actually both are fairly simple and did not take a lot of time. But just to show you some more ideas with the same scenario. So we made these 2 cards tonight, and then using some of the other stamps from that set, I did this flower one, and again, same designer series paper, and I used the wonderful new in color, and then I did an Easter egg using a bunch of different colors, same designer series paper, and the same ribbon, and all of them the same in color ribbon. So you can see how easy it is to make a lot of cards with this very cute, simple set. So what do you think? What do you like best? You like the flowers, hearts, Easter eggs, leaves? I'll be curious to know what you like. So that's it. Pretty easy cards, and I hope you enjoyed it, and I would love to see it if you do stepped up versus simple. I'd love to see what kind of combinations you come up with. Thank you again, and don't forget, if you comment on or share this video, then you might win one of these 4 cards tonight. So have a wonderful rest of your week, a great Valentine's Day, and thank you for watching and being a friend. Take care. Bye.